Good evening. Good evening. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're all doing well. And I thank you for the positive messages and huge interest in Newgrange. A lot of people asking me questions about Irish stories, and these are just not stories. I honestly believe this, that these are not just stories, that these are metaphorical and also literal stories that have multiple meanings. And just when St. Patrick presented the shamrock to the pagan chief, that there's many meanings to God, that the shamrock has 3 leaves and 1 stem. So yes, it is one plant, but it branches off into 3. So this is the whole thing about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but it comes from the same branch. So that is the illustration there, but these have multiple meanings, and I honestly believe deep in my heart that there is a huge archaeological cover-up, that giants are being discovered, giant skulls that people cannot explain. People cannot explain this, but science would say that these are what we evolved from, what we came from. But that is absolutely ridiculous, because if we came from these beings, why were they able to construct these absolute majestic constructions that were aligned with the mechanical engineering of all the cosmos, of everything that's going on above us? They were absolutely in tuned, the same as a Swiss watch, absolutely majestic precisional engineering. And if these so-called farmers, like they're being referred to as farmers that constructed Newgrange, and I've honestly read this, that the people that constructed this only lived until about 35 years of age. Now, that does not make any logical sense, because you need to think about it this way. If we only lived till 35 years back then, how was it possible that an elder, which is 35 years old, how could an elder be able to explain the absolute complexity of what's going on up here to a 20-year-old? You know, if 20 years of age or 15 years of age was a middle-aged man, a 15-year-old would not be able to comprehend the majestic precisional engineering of this stuff. So I honestly believe that, and this is there is huge problems with science here, because in my opinion, now these are just all my opinions here. These are just all my opinions and how I feel, but I would love to hear what you feel and what you think of this. But carbon dating, carbon-14 dating is how they are achieving these accurate so-called dates when they date these rocks. But there's huge issues here, which is the rate of decay. It is impossible to say that the rate of decay has always been a constant. The rate of decay is never the same rate. it applies to different weathers, different, even how the stones are maintained. But that's a huge issue for me, that these so-called scientists are managing these classic accurate dates through carbon decay. But we know that carbon decays at different rates. If you go outside and put a piece of meat, out in a street, and then put a piece of meat inside your fridge, there'll be two completely different rates of decay. So what I'm just saying is these rocks are, and there's other huge problems. The rate of decay, the half-life is 5,730 years. So if this monument is 5,000 years old, then the half-life has not occurred yet. There has been no half-life. 5,730 years. There's a lot of problems there, but I just want to show you my discoveries, and I'm sorry for ranting. On, but so look at this here. This is the Hill of Tara. Yeah, the Hill of Tara, and I've got this zoomed into the mound of hostages, and I honestly believe that giants, and this is an image taken in Ireland. Now, I do understand that photographs can be manipulated, and this could be fake. This could be absolutely fake. This could be a hoax. I honestly believe that these things can be hoaxed, but one thing that can't be hoaxed is that these multiple skulls that are being documented all over the world, and all over the world there's many stories of giants, many stories, and I believe in stories, because you need to think of it this way. If you have a friend that is always saying that there's this girl and she's a bad girl, if enough people begin to continue to say that this girl is a bad girl, then stories usually end up being correct. So what I'm trying to say is that now I'm totally aware of people that have certain diseases, like a thyroid problem, but there are many issues with people with these types of diseases, as the bones produce too much calcium, and the body produces too much testosterone, causing the muscles to increase in size, and your heart is a muscle, so a lot of people die very young. But these skulls are huge bones, and they are not giving off the same impression as someone who has a thyroid problem, because look at the skulls are not human. So if you got this big guy, their skulls are human. These are not human skulls. There's no understanding. Excuse me. God bless. So I wanted to show the Hill of Tara, and look at this line. These are Leylines, my discoveries. My discoveries are, look at this lane. It runs through some St Patrick Church, and this is where, by the way, Leylines are, in my opinion, spiritual highways, or these huge. Hello. Sorry about that. Hello. Okay, that's her back. That's her back. I think we're gonna have to cut this short here. So yeah, she's back from training, and I'm gonna make her dinner. So there's so much I have discovered, but ley lines are spiritual highways, and there's lots of paranormal activity that occurs. But on these lanes there are fairy hills, fairy mounds, and these lanes run through the likes of, like, look at this here. This is like an art school. This is like an art school, but it's a spiritual center. See, it's like a conference hall, and I'm wondering, when people attend conference talks here, do they feel a sense of peace? You know, is there a sense of yes, I'm coming now. So I've got the dinner on, and it might be on fire. And what I'm thinking about as well, just